Our meeting today is being held on the traditional lands of the Wallarung people, and I wish to acknowledge them and the traditional owners. I would like to pay my respects to their elders, past and present, and the elders of other communities who may be here today. My name is James Brown, and people don't know me, and before you ask, I can't sing. And yes, I do feel good. I'll start by talking about the Animal Justice Party and what it stands for, or at least what the letters stand for. A stands for animal. We're all animals, every single one of us. And there's over 4,500 different mammal species on the planet, living above the ground, under the ground, in the oceans, in fresh water, in the treetops, and even in the sky. To all of which we are very, very closely related through our genetic makeup, sharing amazing similarities. We all grow hair or fur from our skin, some a little bit more than others. Which my hair is receding through my head and coming to other parts of my body. Why? I don't know. We all have 3 bones in our middle ear for transmitting sound to the inner ear. And our young are reared on milk thanks to mums who possess mammary glands. So we're all related. That's what I'm trying to say. And where I'm going with this is the fact that the Animal Justice Party aren't just for the animals of this world, they're also for all of us humans. We're also animals. So Andy also represents us as a people here in Corangamite, and it's very, very important that we get behind him and support him with this fantastic effort that he's pushing towards being a member of Parliament. And more power to him there. Myself personally, if I was a member of Parliament, I'd turn into an Italian shoe-slinging match within minutes. The J stands for justice, and I quoted the friend of mine, Philip Wallen. Justice must be blind to race, colour, religion, or species. If she is not blind, she will be a weapon of terror. And the fact is, we see that every day, every single day. I may be preaching to the converted, but the fact is the majority of us are animal liberationists in this room, or people who are interested in becoming some, or one. And we are, we witness the horrors that these animals are exposed to on a daily basis, and it disturbs me greatly. And I'd like to commend Andy in his stance in regards to the Animal Justice Party and trying to be a very, very loud voice for the creatures that have no voice. Another lesser-known man, George Washington. The administration of justice is the firmest pillar of government, and that's a fact also. P stands for party. That's what we're going to do when Andy wins this seat. No, but also it's a political party. It's a group of people who come together to contest elections and hold power in the government. They agree on some issues and policies and programs for the society that they represent with a view to promote the collective good or to further their supporters' interests. And I know Andy has simply got our best interests at heart, right the way across the board in this electorate. So it's quite simple. A vote for Andy would not be wasted. It's as simple as that.
Ladies and gentlemen, as the opening song has said, this is war. If any of you are in any doubt about this, you need to pause for a moment. Take just a moment or two to take stock of the realities confronting the animals that we share our planet with, and the realities facing them here in our own backyard, here in the electorate of Corangamite. As we go about our daily lives, we're bombarded with all kinds of media with the problems besetting us, from financial to social, from justice to government. So much so that the problems affect the animals can often, to most people, seem of little consequence, because they are not face to face with the fear, the pain, the torture and the death that is their reality. But these issues are what we have created, what we have masterminded. We have enslaved, exploited, driven into the ground for a bet, this underclass of society. We've even wiped them off the face of the earth when they have dared to compete with our desire to make a profit. If you think I'm overstating things, let's have a look at just a few of the issues happening right here in our backyard in Corangamite. The overbreeding, mismanagement, relocation and culling of Cape Otway koalas, indiscriminate culling of kangaroos with permits issued next door to wildlife sanctuaries charged with the very task of repairing their broken bodies. Carlisle River Sanctuary comes to mind immediately. Regular baiting of so-called pest species with the disgusting Schedule 7 poison 1080. A prolonged and painful death awaits any being affected by this heinous substance. $1,000 that the City of Greater Geelong and Certified Shire have collected for dog and cat registration in the last 12 months alone is sent to consolidated revenue instead of being sent back to fund essential services to animals such as dogs. The continued exploitation of junk horses. The number of ducks and protected waterfowl every year shot. I refuse to call that a sport. Wholesale government-sanctioned slaughter by gutless individuals that take pleasure from blasting a small bird to death. That's what that is. Puppy farms and kitten mills. Factory farming of pigs, chickens, rabbits and goats. Our shameful complicity in the live export trade. The destruction of our precious marine biodiversity by the super trawler, the Geelong Star. And the total evil that is the greyhound industry. A living hell, short but hell nonetheless, is the reality for any poor dog born into that world. It is a total disgrace from top to bottom. A national tragedy that needs to be wiped out. And so we move on to the human animals that are the victims of the coalition government, the government of Sarah Henderson. Because it is not enough that the federal government has declared war on non-human animals. I'll briefly touch on 4 examples of their reign as I personally find abhorrent. First of all, the government of Sarah Henderson has declared war on the original owners of this land, moving to cut water and power from remote communities, declaring that tens of thousands of years of kinship with the land is in fact a lifestyle choice. It is disgusting. What is further disgusting is that they refuse to even entertain the prospect of a treaty with our native people. Our Prime Minister has declared war on single mothers, telling them that they need to survive on $10 less per week. This from a man who has a personal wealth in excess of $200 million. But hold on to your hats, people, because it gets even better. In the next breath, he publicly, unashamedly tells us it's perfectly okay for MPs and their spouses to travel first class on domestic and international flights. Clearly, there is no budget emergency for the ruling class. If these weren't bad enough, friends, they've declared war on innocent children, fleeing persecution and conflict, labelling them as illegal and treating them as criminals, locking them behind razor wire fences, exposing them to physical and sexual abuse, thereby ensuring a lifetime of emotional and psychological torture. And friends, this government continues to fire the coals of divisiveness by refusing to allow marriage equality, by simply not passing this common sense legislation, something that to all of us should just be. They instead want to put it to a costly plebiscite, the result of which, I might add, is non-binding on the government to accede to, knowing and allowing the far Christian right to mobilise their troops of hate. Ladies and gentlemen, the Animal Justice Party was formed for this very reason, to force legislation, to change the rules, and to stop new bad rules from being created, such as ag-gag legislation. Those with a vested financial interest in preventing you, the public, from discovering all the dirty secrets behind animal industries are the backers of this piece of evil. Ladies and gentlemen, we created this. Again, as I said in the video there, if we continue to use economic drivers as the baseline from which we measure our interaction with those we share the planet with, we commit ourselves to a depth of moral and environmental bankruptcy from which as a species we will never recover. I'm standing for the seat of Corangamite because for too long these issues and more have been the subject of discussion, of countless inquiries resulting in watered down legislation, of non-binding industry-enforced codes of conduct formed by consultation with all the stakeholders. I hate that phrase, I absolutely hate it. It is code for those with monetary concern. Funny how those discussions, those committees, don't have a voice from the single most important stakeholder of all, the animals whose fate they are deciding. No more. No more. I'm standing because both the major parties are guilty of this practice and in so doing have allowed all these situations to develop and thrive because they simply don't care enough to do anything real, anything substantial about it. They don't have the guts to do the job properly. My background, ladies and gentlemen, is in major construction. I work in an industry where we don't mince words. We don't dance around issues, we act. I know I'm not the only one who is sick and tired of politicians kicking around an issue. And I intend to not only shine a light on them, I intend to force them to explain themselves to you in plain language. Friends, at Sarah Henderson's contrived Super Trawler rally in Torquay, I was shouted down and told to shut up by her supporters. Well, I have a message for both Sarah Henderson and her supporters. I will not shut up. I will never shut up. I will fight for all the voiceless. I will fight for all of them because Sarah Henderson and her government are fighting against them. Because, ladies and gentlemen, this is the positive message of the Animal Justice Party. That finally all the animals, both human and non-human alike, have someone in their corner. Someone to say, enough. We will not accept this and we'll be silent no more. If you believe that the animals need us, if you believe it is time for government to be held accountable, then give your voice to those who have none. I have a little quote here that's become a favourite of mine of late, because I think it encapsulates the situation very well. If I am to be a voice for animals, then how should I speak? Am I to whisper when they are screaming in pain? Am I to be calm when they tremble in fear? Am I to shout for mercy as their throats are being slit? Tell me how I need to speak for you to grant them their freedom. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much, and I look forward to your help because, ladies and gentlemen, this is war. Thank you very much as well. I'd like to thank you all for coming. Thank you very much. I'd like to thank the members of the committee and Bruce Byrne here this evening, who is our lead Senate candidate. I'd like to thank him for coming down and supporting us. I'd also like to thank members of the media. I'd like to thank the crew from Pulse FM and also from 3CR for turning up. Thank you very much. I'd also like to thank the wee man over there for emceeing. Thank you. And ladies and gentlemen, you can consider this a call to arms. I'd like everyone to register if you haven't already. We're going to need your help when it comes to election day. If we're to do anything, if we are to make change, we must have people on the booths on the day. We absolutely must. Okay, so register your interest in helping us out there. And now just enjoy dinner and wander about and have a chat. Thank you very much.